Welcome back. This will be our first video where we'll be testing business products. We'll be taking a break from home products. We did test the majority of the home products that's out on the market, but we'll still test them again and test the ones that we haven't gotten to as of yet. So our first business products today will be Kaspersky Endpoint Security, going up against F-Secure Business Endpoint Security. So this is Kaspersky. I do like the way it looks. It looks pretty snazzy, I must say. Looks pretty cool. I'm just waiting for F-Secure to open up. Okay, so F-Secure, minimalistic little pop-up, gives you all the modules that are enabled. You can scan, check for software updates, do settings, and have a couple of more options. But Kaspersky does look next gen. F-Secure doesn't look bad, but I must say Kaspersky does look better. Okay, so I'll quickly show you guys the dashboard views as well. I'll try to fit everything in this window. If something is out of the border, I do apologize for it, but just a quick glance, this will be Kaspersky's main interfaces. So you've got your security profiles, got vulnerability assessment, patch management, data discovery, encryption, and etc. I must be honest, I do not really like Kaspersky's dashboard. It was a bit confusing on how to set up. You need to assign users to devices before you can actually assign profiles. So you'll have one user assigned to many devices, and I'm not a very big fan of it. But in any case, you can do encryption. You have your EDR as well, but we're not going to test EDR. For F-Secure, I do like the management portal a little bit more. It's a little bit more user-friendly, and it's much easier to enroll a device. Kaspersky, you need to send an email. The person needs to get an email. There's no way of really downloading it unless you jump at a system where you email it yourself, click on the link, and download it. From F-Secure, it's much easier to get the MSI or the EXE to enroll the devices. So just a quick glance of settings and kind of how it looks like for F-Secure. I do prefer it more. There's a lot more that you can change, enable, exclude. Kaspersky, not that much. It's almost like you can do more from the endpoint than actually what you can do from the dashboard. So you've got your browsing protection, firewalls, and etc. But I do like F-Secure a little bit more. Okay, so now to jump back to the machines, I'll show you guys from the endpoint itself. You would notice it's very similar to the home versions, especially the way that the layout looks. This is very similar to the home products. So obviously we have disinfect, we set all types deep, and the compound files is set to all again, smart mode, etc. We made one exclusion, and that is for our script again. Okay, so that's file protection, web protection. We left everything on default. Mail threat protection, as you guys can see, it's on, but we're not testing it. Network threat, everything's enabled. Mac spoofing is enabled. Firewall is also enabled. We didn't create any rules, we just left everything on default. The MC integration is enabled. Okay, Kaspersky Security Cloud is enabled. Behavior, delete, and to enable protected files and folders. Exploit protection is enabled and set to block mode. HIPS is enabled. There are no managed applications and exclusions. Okay, so this is the rollback engine, so that's enabled. and that's about it. So EDR is not enabled, we're not going to use it, and obviously full disk encryption, we're not going to use that. So that's about for the settings, update, tasks, and then obvious licenses. This is the latest version. Let's just disable the protection. Okay, so for F-Secure, the reason why I did it from the Kaspersky to disable it, there is a bit of a delay for Kaspersky endpoints to get settings from the dashboard. Maybe it's just my trial, maybe in general Kaspersky that's not a problem, but in this case it takes quite a while for Kaspersky to get the notification. So in the profile I allowed users to enable them to modify settings and disable protection. For F-Secure, I'm going to disable it from the dashboard. Okay, so real-time scanning, we'll just disable that. AMSI as well. Let's just disable firewall just in case. Okay, save and publish. Okay, so you guys will notice that F-Secure does get the settings pretty quickly. As you can see, it's already been disabled, so it's fairly quick. Okay, let's extract the samples. These samples are nothing older than 5 days again. Just want to make sure that Windows Defender is not going to interfere. Okay, nope, doesn't look like it. Okay, seems like we have to disable Defender. Okay, so while the malware extracts, we'll look at F-Secure settings on the endpoint itself. It's not as snappy as Kaspersky. As you can see, it takes a while to open. Okay, so it's finally open, so let's look at the settings. Okay, so this is how the protection or how the interface looks like. Very clean. Scan settings, secure browsing, automated tasks, firewall. It uses Windows Firewall on top of its own firewall. Web content, updates, privacy, support, and central management. Okay. Okay, so let's just make sure that you've got to be joking me. I think I did disable it. Do we have to disable it again? Sorry guys, you guys saw that I did disable it, but the simple Windows Defender enabled itself again. I think I might need to do the re-extraction again. Okay guys, let's just wait for the malware extraction and then we'll start the test together. Okay, so all the malware has been extracted on both of them. So just to look at the dashboard again. What I do like about Kaspersky is they've got like a power level per profile to show how strong the profile is. So as you guys can see, everything is basically enabled for that machine. So this is the profile that has everything enabled. And then obviously you've got all your security modules, as you guys seen, what I've shown you on the endpoint itself. So just to quickly go through it for some of you that might be interested in it and wonder how your opposition looks like. Okay, that's also what I've noticed a bit with Kaspersky. It's sometimes a bit slow, but with F-Secure, there's no actually a real problem. Okay, so we'll just make sure F-Secure is enabled. So we use Windows Firewall as well. Browsing protection is obviously enabled. Let's go to real-time scanning. Let's just enable it. Save and publish. Okay, so it seems like the modules are enabled. Okay, let's just make sure for Process Explorer, submit, and submit, while we wait for F-Secure to give us our window eventually, before my lifespan ends. Okay, finally decided. Okay, cool. As you guys can see, everything is on, it's enabled. We'll quickly check for updates. Okay, Kaspersky is ready to go. Security, as you guys can see, everything is green, what we need for this test. Okay, so it seems like it didn't update successfully, so there was an update. Okay, so malware protection is on. Okay, so F-Secure is ready. Okay, so F-Secure gave us our first pop-up, so that's good, means it's active. Okay, and we're back. You guys would have noticed that F-Secure and Kaspersky did do restarts during the test. Obviously, it's the malware. F-Secure is finally done, but you guys would see that the mouse is really laggy compared to Kaspersky. So let's quickly have a look-see. So this file size has been exceeds the limit. So obviously this file is pretty big, and it's in temp, so that's definitely something with malware. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Yeah, it is set to submit. Okay, so far everything seems normal except this, the amount of scripts running. A couple of Javas. Okay, so I can't see any malware except this one. As you guys can see, it's in a temp folder. So it's one of the zip files seems to have extracted this file. There is still malware running in Kaspersky's memory, I think. They seem to have cleared out. I'll just keep an eye on it. Okay, let's just look at the threads. Yeah, sorry, this mouse is really buggy and laggy on this machine. Okay, yeah, so the file is 350 megabytes in size. We won't be able to upload that to VirusTotal, I think. Okay, but that's the only one that's catching my eye. Obviously the amount of script services running. Okay, I'm just gonna do a restart on this machine. As you guys can see, a couple of, obviously, as I did with the previous test for Kaspersky Bitdefender, the free editions, if any apps install, I'm labeling it as PUP, so obviously Chrome, VLC, and kind of looks like a vast installer, and grep cleaner is installed. But let's bounce this machine. Okay, I'm still attending the malware on the Kaspersky machine, and once it's done, I'll do a restart on the Kaspersky machine as well. Okay guys, so you guys would notice there's quite a bit of startup things here, so I'm just going to close them. Close that. And the mouse movement is still extremely slow. Okay, I'm gonna check for updates quickly, and then I'm gonna start the scan. And we're back. The test is done on the Kaspersky machine, so I'm just gonna close all the malware. You would notice we have the same laggy mouse movement as we have on the F-Secure machine. Okay, so let's look here. Nope, let's go back. Okay, so it seems like it uses Visual Basic. Obviously it's not digitally signed. Sorry guys, I'm just going through it quickly, otherwise these videos will just be way too long. Let's go back. Okay, so it seems like it comes from Google Drive. Obviously a lot of registry keys it's trying to modify, it tries to delete a couple of registry keys, and it's obviously trying to terminate that process. Okay, next one. Okay, same story. Visual Basics again. Okay, so it seems like coming from Google Drive again. Registry keys, yeah, also seems like it's a bit nasty. Okay, so gonna do a restart on this machine. I saw that F-Secure obviously wants the restart after the scan, so once this scan is finally done, I'll do the restart for F-Secure again, and then we'll jump into third party. But let's just wait until we can get there. Yeah, so it wants to restart. Say 2 hours later. Okay, cool guys. Wait for this, and I'll start the scan with Kaspersky. Okay, so the scan stopped randomly on the F-Secure machine, so it wants to restart the computer and run the scan again. So I think that's what we're going to do. Okay, gonna restart the machine and start the scan again. I'll most probably let the F-Secure machine run overnight. I'll see how long Kaspersky is going to be, otherwise I'll just let them both scan overnight and attend to them when I'm at my desk, but I'll just see how quick they can do their scans. And we're back. Still seems like we got a couple of startup items on the F-Secure machine. Kaspersky is done with the scan. 4 objects not processed, 6 objects disinfected, and 945 objects deleted. So we'll quickly look at the 4 objects. Let's resolve them. Okay, so Kaspersky is now green because it was red when it found the malware. So I think it's clean now. So we did a full scan, so it completed. I'm going to start because obviously Kaspersky did already restart. So restart, then we did the full scan. So I'm going to start now with third-party opinion scanners, and then obviously I'll just let Kaspersky run overnight. For F-Secure, we'll obviously need to start the full scan again because the full scan stopped for whatever reason. Just need to close all of this. Okay. Start full scan. Okay, so all these scans are going to take some time again because the full scan now is starting from scratch. So I'm going to let these 2 run overnight. As soon as I can be at my desk as early as possible, I will start the recording again and go through everything with you guys, and then hopefully then start the third-party opinion scans on the F-Secure. But I'm going to let all the third-party opinion scans now run at the same time for Kaspersky to save a bit of time, and then I'll see you guys later. Okay, and we're back. F-Secure did clean 2 out of 59 malware, so unfortunately I didn't clean all the other ones. So let's have a look see at that. Okay, so it says it skipped all of these malware, but they don't really say why it was skipped. And these are items that weren't scanned. Okay, so obviously it doesn't have the password to scan inside the archives, that's fine. Okay, so F-Secure scanned it complete, so whatever it was able to remove, it was able to remove. Okay, so I'm gonna start now with the third-party opinion scans for F-Secure. Kaspersky is already done with all the scans. Once F-Secure is done, we'll show the results and we'll go through it together. Okay, and we're back. Sorry for the delay. Okay, so I'm running a Kaspersky fifth scanner, but that was just for interest sakes, so I'm not going to wait for that. Okay, so let's have a look see at Kaspersky on the left. Mouse movement for both of them is still not correct. Okay, so let's have a look see at Hitman Pro. Okay, not that many entries. So we've got obviously one here on the app data roaming, defender security, so that looks extremely legit. Malware on the desktop, another one in roaming, another one on the public, and then another one on the roaming, and that's about it. Okay, so the rest of the malware seems to be on the desktop, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 malware outside of the normal locations for Hitman Pro. For NPE, we obviously have 2, 4, 6, 11, 14 files, 2 associated with this. So on the app data roaming, that one, and then another one on the app data roaming. And the same for this one. So apparently it's fly fishing, someone that likes fly fishing. Then obviously it's this file, so this file is the one that's persistent and the one that's too large to be submitted to VirusTotal through Process Explorer. So that is the naughty one. This malware is on both of these machines. So that's the persistent one. There's the defender one. Obviously registry entries. So it doesn't look too good. And the same for that. So Northern Power Razor found actually quite a couple of problems. For MCSoft, obviously app data, 2 of them there, and then it's desktop. And that seems to be it. So it seems like Norton is finding more malware between these 3 scanners. So that's PUP, that's on the desktop, and that's it, guys. Okay, cool. So not that much. Let's look at our little Malwarebytes friend. Okay, so let's go up to the top. Okay, so users public, and then obviously it's the malware on the desktop. And then from here on we have all the way down to app data, quite a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So one is a backdoor, and this one is part of a process, so it keeps loading. I just want to see if Malwarebytes also picked up that one. I can't see if Malwarebytes also picked up the other one, the bigger one. No, I don't see it, but it's fine. So not a complete clean slate, but not bad. But it is kind of like Kaspersky home versions are doing better. Or it's just me, or I'm hallucinating. But we did obviously do a test with Kaspersky free version not even 2 days ago, and I think it actually had less problems than the business endpoint protection. So we'll be a bit more harsh on the business products, because that is the pinnacle of these companies where they actually make their money, is obviously for business products. So I feel business products by default should be better than the home products, but not too bad considering the amount of malware. But yeah, not a clean slate. So out of the 24, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so I would say a little bit less than half of that is malware that's not on the desktop. So not a complete clean slate, but it seems like Norton found the most problematic threats. Let's close that. Let's look at Process Explorer. Okay, so there's the file that I was mentioning. Keeps loading, so it's a persistent. So you can see under local temp that keeps loading, and that's the one that Norton was complaining about. So let's have a look. Okay, that's just Kaspersky Lab. Okay, that seems fine. Okay, so these processes are, I think, not closed correctly. So I would say that's the only persistent one. That's definitely due to malware. If it is a bigger threat, I don't know. I haven't actually investigated the specific .exe, what it actually does, but if you just look off the bat, that is obviously not supposed to be there. And the mouse movement there's definitely something wrong, or what was damaged due to this. Mouse movement is not smooth at all. It's very laggy. Okay, so these two, they don't look correct to me. They don't even have descriptions or names. There's that malware that is consistently running. Okay, so app data local. Okay, so that's obviously not supposed to be there. So let's look at our files. Okay, that seems fine. Our download seems fine. Document seems fine. Our picture seems fine. So luckily no ransomware infection. But yeah, I'm actually a little bit disappointed in the Kaspersky Endpoint Protection for business. I thought it would actually do better. Everything was on max settings, it has cloud access, etc. to do cloud queries, and it's not badly infected, obviously, but for a business product, yeah, I don't actually know what I want to say, because for me it looked almost like Kaspersky Internet Home Security, and even a free edition for me actually did better. But I could be wrong, that's my opinion. Yeah, and this file here, it's not malware, it's got to do with Norton Power Razor. There was a new version for it, so obviously it creates dumps the temporary files on the desktop because it's located on the desktop. But Kaspersky seems to want to reboot for the malware, so let's maybe do that, because we're gonna review F-Secure now. So we're done with this machine, so it might as well just restart. Okay, so let's have a look see on the right. Mouse movement also not great. Okay, Hitman Pro, a lot less results because there's a lot less malware on the desktop. I'll show now when Kaspersky is back up and running again. There's a little bit more malware inside the desktop folder. So 153 samples are still left, but obviously it complained it couldn't access the archives because it's password protected. Okay, let's go back in my prop. Okay, cool. So it seems like we only have one file that is located here that's not supposed to be there, and obviously F-Secure is still giving us these notifications on the random occasions, so it seems like it did remove another malware from the desktop, maybe via signature updates now. So it's only this one and then the two on the desktop. Let's look at Norton Power Razor, quite a bit more on MPE. Okay, so there is that same one that's on the Kaspersky, but at least the severities are all medium. Kaspersky has two high severities, which is obviously not good for obvious reasons. So it's that one, and then we've got this one here. So seems like it's a CMD with a registry entry. Okay, so two files linked to that one. Another registry entry. Let's look at this one. That looks like a JavaScript. Okay, so directly under the user profile. Okay, so downloads. Seems like it does not trust this VLC. Might be maybe the hash value doesn't match the VLC, what it's supposed to be. But obviously it doesn't like VLC player. Okay, so MPE quite more results. Let's look at MCsoft. Okay, app data. Okay, so quite a bit more files under app data for F-Secure, unfortunately. Kaspersky had less. Now we're on the desktop from here, and then let's go back up again. Okay, and then from here on, directly under the user profile, quite a bit. Okay, so obviously more results here. Let's have a look here. Malwarebytes. Okay, app data, same ones that MCsoft picked up the text files. Okay, so app data, quite a bit on the app data, unfortunately. Ouch. Data. Okay, still app data. Okay, now from here on we're on the desktop. Okay, and then from here user account, and then two registry keys. Okay, so it's not looking good for F-Secure either. And then we've got the Kaspersky tool. Let's just stop it. Okay, so obviously app data as well. Desktop malware. Okay. And public, yeah, okay. Okay, so we obviously have this. There's an Avast installer, but I don't trust this Avast installer. No way that I'll trust that Avast installer. Let's have a look at the files. Desktop. Okay, so obviously that I didn't see that being picked up on the other software, but obviously I didn't look at every single result for the desktop, so this one could be among them. Downloads, obviously these downloads, documents are fine, and our pictures are fine. Okay, so obviously that was the sys broker, and then you obviously got all this other nonsense here. Okay, so we've got a startup here for Kaspersky. Okay guys, so we're back. I had to take a call from a client, so I'm sorry for that. I thought I was done for the day, but definitely not. So Kaspersky, obviously I saw that every time this does start up, I'm not gonna do a disinfect and restart. We didn't check the startup items, so let's just go back to that. Let's look for files. Okay, so no funny business here. Okay, so startup items, we obviously have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items that are not supposed to be there. This one already looks dangerous. So obviously roaming. Looks something like, kind of like a taxi. And they're all enabled, so they are working. Okay, so startup items, not so good. Let's just get this closed. Can't open up Process Explorer anymore. Okay, we'll just use Task Manager. Now I can't even open up Task Manager. Oops. And this is after the Kaspersky virus removal. Okay, let me just restart this machine, guys, so I can just give more accurate results. But clearly more problems on the F-Secure machine than on the Kaspersky. Okay, let me just quickly restart this naughty boy and then we'll come back to them. Okay, and the machine is back up and running again, so let's quickly compare the startup items. Okay, Task Manager is opening, yay. Just waiting for that, guys. Okay, a couple of error messages. Okay, so we've got this 1, 2. These two are definitely unknown. there, 1, 2, that's unknown, there, 1, then another one unknown. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it seems Kaspersky has one more startup according to me. Maybe we can label this one as the 5th one, so there's 5. But yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so startup wise, it's not looking good for either of them. But I think Kaspersky did a bit better than F-Secure because obviously we don't have this on the machine. Crap Cleaner didn't install, this Avast, which I definitely won't trust, VLC Player, and Google Chrome. Let's see at the malware quantities. Okay, so F-Secure did manage to remove a little bit more than Kaspersky. But not really good results for business products, I would say. But not bad either. It's not we have a complete train smash, at least there's no ransomware infection. Our data is intact. But yeah, guys, know me by now, there's no way that I'll trust these machines. I'll just reload them. Rather be safe than sorry. But we did test quite a bit of malware, so they did good. It's not like they did bad. So I've got mixed feelings. I can't really say if they failed or not, but I'm leaning more to they both kind of failed in a sense, because we've got 5 startup items for each of them that's not supposed to be there. They both have the malware that's running in memory every time after a startup, which is not supposed to be there either. So now there's 2 of them. They don't seem to be hogging up a lot of resources, but they're not supposed to be there. And I can't seem to see that one, but it could be that Kaspersky obviously did remove malware, and it's still trying to clean. So obviously I think Kaspersky removed that, which is funny because I didn't remove it here, but I'm just making assumptions, guys, so I didn't actually pay attention. But it's not running here now. It was there before the restart, so I'm suspecting the Kaspersky removal assisted with that. But yeah, so definitely not a clean slate for both these products. We'll be testing more business products for now because it's a bit of a pain to get trials, because obviously every salesperson wants to sell you their product and they do email you on a regular basis, and not all of them off the bat give you a trial version. You obviously have to speak to a salesperson and so we'll obviously just be doing limited tests for limited vendors when it comes to business products. We did ask for Malwarebytes, a sales representative that contact us, so I'll reply to her email, so hopefully we can get Malwarebytes business to test. But we obviously still have a couple other business vendors we need to test, and the trials are running out, so we'll be doing as many tests as we can with these vendors. Some of them will be retested not long after the initial videos, because we want to do as many tests in that 30 days for these products as we can, and then try to mix and match them as much as possible, because I think we only have 4 or 5 business products available for testing right now. So Kaspersky and F-Secure was now. We still need to test Trend Micro, Webroot, Komodo, and I think we have Bitdefender Gravity Zone, but we still need to set that up. Yeah, so those are more or less the business products that we have trials for, dashboards, logins, so we'll do those tests. But otherwise, guys, let us know what you thought about the test. Maybe I missed something and you guys can put it out to me, your thoughts on the results. But not super impressed by either of them, because they kind of perform very similar to the home products. But yeah, let me know, guys, what you thought about this video. More videos to come soon. We'll start recording the other business vendors today. It's now 2:30, so hopefully later today we'll start the recording for the next 2 that's going in the cage. But otherwise guys, thank you for watching, thank you for the support. Until next time.